Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, the SNP stands proudly behind the Refugee Convention and the European Convention on Human Rights. We believe that all who seek asylum and seek refugee status deserve a fair hearing, and we are 100% behind the clear statement from the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees that there is no such thing as an illegal asylum seeker.
Absolutely spot on. Well said, Stuart C. McDonald. Well, hello then, I do hope you're all well. Now, after our Suella Braverman had spouted about asylum seekers having more money than sense, illegal immigrants clogging up our schools, and any minute now 100 million people are going to suddenly appear on our southeast coast or wherever from a dinghy, it was SNP spokesperson Stuart C. McDonald's turn, and don't you dare even ask me to pronounce his constituency, as I don't want to insult any of my fantastic Scottish subscribers. I know my limitations, especially with my broad Yorkshire accent. But he had his chance to ripples into her statement, and he asked two very interesting and very basic questions.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Mr Speaker, the SNP stands proudly behind the Refugee Convention and the European Convention on Human Rights. We believe that all who seek asylum and seek refugee status deserve a fair hearing, and we are 100% behind the clear statement from the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees that there is no such thing as an illegal asylum seeker.
Absolutely spot on. Well said, Stuart C. McDonald. At least somebody says so. Thank you.
Mr Speaker, despite the dreary dog whistle rhetoric, her bill will not so much as lay a solitary finger on people smugglers or people traffickers, but it will cause serious and devastating harm for people who have already endured incredible suffering. Afghans let down by the government's utterly failed relocation schemes will be locked up and offshored. People who have fled persecution in Syria, Eritrea or Iran will remain blocked from the asylum system. The policies that have seen hundreds of children go missing from hotels will be enshrined in her bill. The world-leading modern slavery legislation piloted through by her predecessor is about to be ripped to pieces without a single shred of justification. Mr Speaker, that is what her appalling bill looks set to deliver, and that is why we will oppose it every step of the way.
She didn't look happy there, did she?
Mr Speaker, if every country followed her example, the whole system of refugee protection around the world would fall to pieces. But it's not just the system of refugee protection around the world that's going to be trashed by this bill, but the UK's reputation as a place of sanctuary. Mr Speaker, she spoke about an overwhelmed asylum system. The only thing that has overwhelmed the asylum system is the Conservative Party's incompetence and mismanagement. Ugly, likely to be counterproductive and of doubtful legality. That's how one of her own ministerial colleagues described the Rwanda plan, and that also beautifully encapsulates what's in her bill. So, Mr Speaker, two questions for the Home Secretary. What happens then if an Afghan arrival cannot be removed to Afghanistan, France, Rwanda or anywhere else? Will he or she eventually be admitted to the asylum system, and if so, after how long? And finally, Mr Speaker, when the Prime Minister meets with President Macron, will he be telling the President that the UK is prepared to leave the European Convention on Human Rights?
Good question, actually. I can just say, yes, we hope you can give us more help. Well, yeah, let's have a processing plant in France. We've already offered that. I bet they won't take him up on that offer, will they?
Secretary. Mr Speaker, a lot of passion, a lot of fury and a lot of fire. I would only wish that the Scottish Government would bring so much passion to their approach to accommodating asylum seekers when it's Scotland who currently takes one of the lowest numbers of asylum seekers out of our United Kingdom. Our measures set out a comprehensive and coherent plan combining fairness and compassion.
Now, let's be honest, shame she didn't sound that much coherent, did she? Let alone have a plan. And also, she didn't answer the question, did she? No surprises there. It was just solid performative nonsense, you know, to stoke up her base and all that. And all the way through it were like that as well. But why, though? Why? I was watching all the way through it. Yeah, I know I'm a glutton for punishment. While I was watching all the way through it, another SNP MP of Edinburgh South West See, my friends, I know my limitations. Joanna Cherry may have cottoned on to this extreme Brexit Tory government's little game.
The Home Secretary has often said that she would be quite happy if the United Kingdom left the European Convention on Human Rights. And when the Justice Secretary gave evidence to the Joint Committee on Human Rights last year, he said that the government weren't ruling out leaving the convention. Now, she said in her statement that she can't make a definitive statement of compatibility with the ECHR under Section 19, which doesn't really come as a surprise to most of us. But can I ask her this? Isn't the plan behind this legislation simply this? The legislation will go through in the certain knowledge that the domestic courts of the United Kingdom will find that it's incompatible with international law and the European Convention on Human Rights, and then the Tories will fight the next general election on a promise to take the United Kingdom out of the European Convention on Human Rights. That's the whole point of this, isn't it?
Yep. Here.
Very interesting question. I wonder what the answer will be. I bet it'll be a non-answer.
Secretary.
Well, I refer the Honourable Lady to her comments that she made about the Rwanda partnership pretty much a year ago. Many people here denounced it as unlawful, as cruel, as illegitimate. And yet we had an exhaustive and authoritative judgment from the High Court not very long ago saying the exact opposite, compliant with human rights, compliant with the Refugee Convention and lawful.
Very interesting, eh? As far as I could tell, Suella Blabbermouth didn't answer it, did she? And the more I thought about it, I felt Joanna Cherry's question kind of made a little bit of sense. Because what else are they going to fight the May elections and probably the next general election on? They can't fight in the state of the economy, can they? Or the NHS, can they? They can't even fight on the cost of living or due to the state of the rivers we now have. They can't even fight on the environment, can they? As far as I can tell, Brexit has had its day in my eyes. And also, when I was watching through her reply to Yvette Cooper, I definitely think Joanna Cherry is spot on.
She says get serious. Well, let's look at the facts, Mr. Speaker. The British people want to stop the boats. It's one of the 5 promises that the Prime Minister made to the British people. But stop the boats didn't even feature in the Leader of the Opposition's 5 big missions. It's because he probably doesn't care, or is it because he doesn't care, or because he doesn't know what to do? We all know why, and I think the British people know why. It's because deep down, the Leader of the Opposition doesn't want to stop the boats.
But what do you guys think? Is Joanna Cherry right? Knowing that this bill doesn't have much going for it, doesn't have any legs by the sounds of it, will they fight on the next general election stuff like culture wars and dinghy spotting and, more importantly, leaving the European Court of Human Rights? Let me know down below, and until the next time, I shall bid you farewell and take care, my friends.